Let's go. We are live. Bonsoir, mon petit poisson rouge. I did think I'd stop saying that, but I haven't. I hope you're all good. I hope you're well. We are now live on Facebook, YouTube, and now we're live on Instagram as well. Coming in, settle down. It's been a while since we've done one of these. It's been a very long time. As you all know, I don't know why I'm talking. Oh, you are there. Bless you. Yeah, we've gone down to one a week now. We've gone down to one a week. It's just because I say I'm busy. I sort of, when time just runs away with you. I'm sort of at that point at the moment, even though I don't work. I'm semi-retired, but time just runs away with me. Genuinely is running away with me, and I've been setting up for Debbie Shaw's retreat this weekend. That is this weekend. Very looking forward to Debbie Shaw's retreat. That should be fun. So we've been setting up for that. So it's sort of run away. Drop me a comment if you're there, just so I know you are there. I know Paula's there. I can see her name popping up. Judith's in as well. I see you all are. Janet, how are you? Lovely. I hope you're good and I hope you're well. Does that make the screen bigger? No, it doesn't. I hope you're all good. I hope you're all well. We'll wait for you, the obligatory. We'll wait for you to come in. We have to say that. It's a live thing. It's what we all do. Some of you are watching on Insta as well. Oh, Jordan's watching. And Folly Pops 2 is watching. I didn't know you followed me. Well, welcome, Folly Pops. Leslie's watching as well. Come on in, settle down. You know where you all are. You can watch us on YouTube on the big TV. You can also watch us on Facebook Live, Adam Humphries Live. They're all the same. We dabble with TikTok, but it confused me with likes and stars and this, that, and the other. Tracy's there. Leslie's there. It's like the Hubble spacecraft here. Evening, Adam. Evening on Instagram. Follypops2, hotmail.com. What do you do for a living? That's what I want to know. I'm scared to press a button. But your name is new. We like new people, a.k.a. Karen. That will do me, Karen. We like it. I like Folly Pops too, to be honest. Come on in, say hi. I hope you're well. Oh, here we all are. I knew we were there somewhere. Hi, Adam. Eating junk food in the back. Bring it in. Bring it down the front. I don't mind. Do you want a muddy mint? Fisherman's friend? Treat yourself. From the YouTubes, good evening to you and everyone. Good evening to Sharon as well. She says hi. Come on in. Set yourself down, set up your stool, as it were. Shall we do the introduction and shall we crack on? I think we shall. Introduction, it's like proper TV. I was going to redo this today, and then time got carried away with me, so I didn't. So let's, coming in, sit yourself down. If you've got any questions, we've got a legend coming on now that I've worked with, and I tried to work it out today. Worked with him once on the telly, and I was still brand new at Hochanda, and we've met 3 times at the NEC. I think that's it. But just passing. We're like ships, we are. But I think we met, twice on TV. The first time around, and then you came back, and then we did it all over again, is what we did. Yeah, it's only twice, I'm telling you that. But let's roll the introductions. Come on in, come and say hi. We'll get all your comments through, because it's time to go All Round Mine. It's time for another episode of All Round Mine with me, Adam, with over 15 years in television and even more in entertainment. Let's dig deep with the people we know and love, that we've grown up with. So, pull up a pew, grab a seat, as I invite you all round mine. Yes, indeed, I'm going to invite you all round mine. And not only am I inviting you, I'm also inviting the legend that is, it's our John. How are you, lovely?
You are far too kind. Legend. Infamous, but potentially, but legend. Gosh.
You are. I'm very well, thank you. Very well indeed. As I said in the introduction, that we've only really worked together twice on telly.
Twice. It was, but you were one of the first. I don't think you were my first person on her channel. I think you were the second show, because I did 2 shows that first day. But that was 2018.
Get away.
No, it's mad. Absolutely mad.
6 years ago. So how long was it ago then? Because then you left. to
So I
do
was there
other
for just
stuff?
over a year and a half, and then I went on to Sewing Street and did when they launched the channel in March, because I went to go and ask to be a presenter, a demonstrator, like
Mm.
I'd done on Create and Craft on Hochanda, and they were like, "Well, do you want to do this?" And I was like, "Okay." And then COVID hit, and you want to know there's nothing more terrifying than driving down the M40 and being the only car
That is
on the
true.
road in either directions at 4 in the morning. That was, yeah. Back when
And then you,
fuel was 97p a litre.
oh, them were the days. Them were the days. For those
Yeah,
people that don't, oh, go on.
100 years ago.
Yeah, see, that don't seem right.
Wow.
It doesn't seem right. Now, you are infamous, and you became very big in my household over the Christmas period, is when I sort of latched back on to our John, which we will get to with the Advent calendar haul that he bought us over the Christmas. And genuinely, me and my daughter used to wait with bated breath for the 97,000 Advent calendars that you would open.
I love Christmas.
That you would open them at like 3 in the morning. I
Absolutely.
love them.
But you know what it's
But
like when you're working? You got to do a full day, but you still want to do that. But you're like getting home at midnight. You're thinking, I haven't done my Advents. I'm going to do it now.
you did. I
You
loved them.
know,
There was jigsaws. There was little ducks in there. Love them. Go on.
those jigsaws. I bought so many in the Amazon sale afterwards because they were like 30 quid before and they're only like 7 quid after. So they're all wrapped up already waiting to go the next.
Nice. Love this. For those people that don't know the John, or they've not heard of you before, or seen our view in iCourt Studios, what is your background? Give me your background. If you were a book and I walked into Waterstones and I turned to the back page, what would the blurb be?
So born in Zimbabwe, lived in South Africa until 2001, trained as an accountant in wills and trusts and auditing. And then came over here in 2001. My grandmother and I were really close, and I was able to spend the last 18 months of my life of her life with her, which was lovely because we were very close. And then I was only coming here for 6 months, and then 24 years last week. I've been here 24 years now, so I've now
Oh
officially
my
spent more time in
word.
the UK than I ever did in Africa.
So which one would you prefer? Or do you like both? Have they both got their
So
own?
different, so different. And South Africans are they're very engaged in each other's lives and very interested in knowing people's stories and genuinely invested. Like you'll go to the shop at the supermarket and you'll have a cough, and the person behind the till will be like, "Are you okay? What's going on? Oh, Shem, are you well?" We're here, they'll be like, "Don't cough on me."
Don't come
And
near me.
very different. The cultural differences are huge. But it's that African culture of very much caring about each other. But this country's got a lot wrong with it. South Africa's got a lot wrong with it. Every country's got a lot wrong with it. But I've built a life here, and I think I'm too old and too settled and too annoying to decide to go to another country. Or do you go to another town to set my life up again, let alone another country?
So
I'm such a creature of habit. It's got to be the same restaurant, same meal. I know what I'm having, and it's sorted.
it's the best way, though. It's the best way. You can't go wrong that way. So, what got you into the world of quilting? How did your journey start and evolve to where you are now?
To go from accounting to this, which one
Exactly.
got
That's a
salary, one didn't. So you
very,
need to
very,
say that.
very different in their worlds.
So I got married, and we were living down in Southeast London. We then moved up here towards Hertfordshire. And literally about 3 weeks before we moved to Hertfordshire, I went to a quilting shop just as a trial. I tried crochet and knitting. I wasn't working at this point. I was very happily married and I was being a lovely little housewife. It's a bit difficult when you're 36 and you're being a housewife and you don't know anybody else who's a housewife at that time. So I was very bored and then just decided to do crafting. Love crochet. Knitting was boring. Can't do the whole, this, I wear tops like this, but I can't make tops like this. And thought, well, I'll try quilting, and I saw this book about crazy patchwork, and I made the ugliest, most hideous quilt you will ever see in your entire life. It is so awful. My husband at the time turned around and said, "Darling, should we get you some lessons before you waste any more fabric? You will be buried in that quilt." And I was hooked from that first quilt. I was absolutely hooked. I couldn't believe that you could have such mindfulness, you could feel such personal satisfaction because we don't make anything anymore. We as
That's
people,
true.
we as a country, we don't make anything. And then making something with your hands, and it just brought such a sense of self and such a sense of joy. And I love it. I still do to this day.
So it wasn't passed down through the family, because normally you get that, oh, my grandmother taught me or my mother taught me how to do it. But it wasn't that at all. It was generally you walked into a store and thought, right, I'll get a book.
First time I'd ever even used a sewing machine was the 2 days after that class.
Oh my
So it
word.
was 10 years, literally. And I was just pretty much self-taught. I did the odd log cabin class here. Jenny Raymond, she teaches everybody in about 8 seconds flat. Love her dearly, but you will pay attention, finish your class and hurry up. But
Yeah,
I
she
love
scares
it.
me.
One of my best friends love it. But it's pretty much self-taught. But Jenny Doan on the internet, and I think I was at that point now where there were so few people doing videos online. There was Donna Jordan, there was Jenny Doan, there was the lady from Australia, and I never remember her name. Love her, but I can't remember her name now. She did it, but it was just so nice to find something you really enjoyed. And then within 3 years, I'd started the shop, which started at my kitchen table, teaching people FPP, which I still adore. And now I'm just absolutely besotted. 24 hours a day, I'm all about my shop. It's
Oh my
wonderful.
word. I didn't realize that it came from just genuinely a hobby. It was what it started as. It started as a hobby, and now you're running shops from it. That's
Exactly.
amazing.
But
So
I think the biggest thing that I love the most is the long arming, because I've done just over 620 quilts now for clients, and it's a really special thing. Like, I've had to move everything because I had a whole pile of about 9 quilts that are all freshly ironed over here, but they're now over there. The clients come in with the backing and the quilt and everything. Every single one of them will come in and point out all their mistakes. Happens every day. But that's the thing I love most, is you then get to create the finished product for a client when they bring their stuff in, and it's so rewarding to be able to do that.
see, that's good. So how did the shop start? So obviously you got into crafting, you enjoyed it. So how did then your iQuilt Studios start?
So marriage is a delicate balance.
Well, you
My
can tell
husband
me.
said,
You can
"No,
tell me
okay."
that.
And he looked at me and he was like, "I've had enough." I said, "What?" And it was what started in the kitchen, ended up in the living room, ended up in the spare bedroom, ended up, it was literally like every spot there was a piece of fabric. And he very cleverly turned around and said, "I think we should get you a long arm." I said, "We can't afford that." And he says, "We've got no kids. We can go and buy a long arm. It's fine. We're not going on holiday this year. We'll spend that. I'm not going on holiday next year either, but we can buy the long arm." But the most important thing for him was, you need a studio so you can get all your stuff out of the house. So everything was evicted. The house was immaculate at that point because my husband's a complete minimalist. I'm the complete opposite. I will shove things in every corner and they'd be completely happy with that. But then got the studio, so to get the stuff out the house, and I never wanted to start a shop. I just wanted to start a space where people would come and sew and to enjoy it. And it just grew and grew and grew. And at the height of COVID, we were doing Zoom sessions with 100 people. And it was glorious. And this community that we built, I think everybody during COVID had that. It was such a weird time. Everybody just built these amazing communities. And it just grew from there.
See,
Because
that's good.
you're doing retreats as well now, aren't you, with Debbie?
We're dabbling. Debbie's first one this weekend is what it
Amazing.
is.
Have you done them
But
before? This is
never.
not a gin and tonic, it's just water.
Yeah, yeah. No, we've never. I've never done them before. So Debbie asked me
Amazing.
to put them on for her. So I've gone out because she's very busy. It's TV's Debbie Shaw. She works with Bungle and Zippy, and another name to put a few, and Sutty. So yeah, she asked me to put them on. So we're doing that this weekend. So we're looking forward. So I've been running around like a little fly, buying TVs and stuff. But it should all be good from tomorrow. How do you enjoy things like retreats and Zoom workshops? Are you more of an in-person? Do you like retreat? Do you like doing it with them with you, or do you prefer it over a screen? Because everyone's sort of gone screen-based these days.
I think I much prefer in person because I think you can make people laugh more. Because for me, if you're sitting sewing and you're doing this and you're not having fun anymore.
That's true.
So I will just come up behind gently and just go, shoulders down, smile. This is meant to be fun. Go and enjoy yourself. If you see the shoulders up like this, tap them on the shoulder and say, "Come, cup of tea, we're going out." Because at that point, it's you don't realize that you're doing it. But if you're tense when you're sewing, you're not having fun anymore. So you can't see that in a Zoom. And I
See
think
that?
that
Yes.
connection, a lot of people who do the retreats that I find, a lot of them live alone. A lot of them don't have a huge community. So for me, them being there and having that community is really, really special. And you will find that for the first day, you're going to need a sedative because the noise is amazing and special. It's amazing, but you will need a sedative because it doesn't stop for all of the day.
Yeah,
But it's
that's the bit
so
I'm worried
special
about.
because you'll find by the end of the weekend, it'll be very much like it's I hate the word family because it's not, but the little connections that you've all made are really special. And the tables, if you're sitting on a group of table, you'll have a totally different retreat from the people three tables down.
That is
And
true.
it's really special. It's really special.
Debbie
Oh,
says John's Zoom meetings were brilliant. Kept me sane during lockdown,
thank
and his
you.
lives you do every day were exactly the same to make me happy. You still do your Zooms, don't you? Do you still do? I saw one the other week.
I'm doing a 5-year reunion next week, actually, because it was the first Zoom we had was the last Saturday in March to try and just keep everybody's spirits up.
Is there still spaces to get on this?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, the great thing with Zoom is if there are not enough spaces, you just create another room and you put them in and you swap rooms as you go around.
So how can we jump onto this? Let's give that a plug.
So iquilt.studio, and
This
then
one.
you'll find the shop. There you go. Oh, you're so professional.
Oh yeah,
And
we
just
don't
look
mess
up.
around.
If you just go in the shop section and you type in lockdown, it'll come up with that.
There you go. So jump to the website. Everything is on that website for you that you are going to need. And I'm so glad that was the right website. All day I've been like, this could go terribly wrong. And I may have misspelt it. Before we get on to your charity work that you've been doing, I've been watching all those Zooms that you did the other day. Was absolutely phenomenal. That is out on your YouTube and your Facebook channels at the moment. What are your starting points? So when you design new stuff or when you're sitting down, because we have a lot of new crafters that come in that we forget about. We always do. In the world of television, we always forgot about them. And we forget about the new people because TV, it's all about the money, it's all about the hype, it's all about how quick can we turn this around? And we always used to sit back and go, but how about the new people? Yeah, we haven't got time for them because we need to churn this out. Okay, fair enough. But how about the new? Where do you start as a crafter yourself, as a soft crafter, and where is your starting point to do it? Like, for example, a quilt.
So for me at the minute, in 10 years I've made conservatively 300 quilts, 300 quilt tops.
Oh my
Okay,
word!
so my house is full. Okay, I've got every traditional quilt. I've got the Bargellas. I've got everything I need. All my quilts that I've opened the books and I've looked at. I've made them all. The best thing, buy yourself a good quilt book and just literally go through and find the quilt books that you like. I always tell people start with a log cabin. It is a lot harder than you think it is because trying to keep everything straight, and I know I'm not straight, it's fine, but trying to keep everything going and straight like that is really hard, especially if you just make one single giant log cabin as a single quilt. It's amazing, but you learn so much from that single process. And I think it's start at the basics and learn that. But for me at the minute, all the quilts I'm making at the moment are for festival quilts. They're for competitions. They're for things that inspire me. So I get most of my inspiration from TikTok, ironically.
Okay.
I'm not their target demographic, but I love TikTok. I spend a good hour a day on there. But I find the inspirational messages really good. And I did a quilt 2 years ago at festival, which was during COVID. My two best friends died, literally 6 weeks from one another, and that left a huge hole. And I think you don't, especially during COVID, everybody was so busy, you couldn't go to funerals, you didn't really realize it, and it was coming up to the festival, and I really realized how much I was missing them in my life. And I saw this image on TikTok, which were two people standing next to each other, and the word across it was, "I'm starting to forget you," and that scares me. So I made a
Oh.
quilt with that exact thing, with a single piece of fabric, no seams, no joins, the echo of the people. I put the wording in and I quilted it, and it was disqualified because it was too small. And I didn't know it had to be more than a meter, but anyway, that's a separate thing. But things like that really mean something to me. And I thought that I find certainly making things for my mental health, being able to make something and get my feelings out into something makes it a lot easier and a lot better. Because making things with your hands, we don't do it. So with you kneading bread or whatever, you can get your frustrations out in it. But being able to put your emotion into something like that, like a piece I just entered in Glasgow, um, having been really unwell last year, I made a quilt which is exactly about that. Absolutely bombed. The judges did not get it, and I was so lucky because I had my gallery. And I was sitting there, and this lady came along, and she sat down next to me, and she was just sitting looking at all these minis. And I glanced over, and she had a little badge saying "Quilt Judge." And I said, "You're not a quilt judge." She said, "No, I am." I said, "Did you judge these quilts?" And she said, "Yes." I said, "Please, can I pick your brain about my quilts?" And she said, "Which one was it?" And I said, "Well, it's so different. It's so unique. It's nothing like the others." She said, "I know it's your quilt." She said it was that. But what was so good is being able to have that conversation with her. I realized where I'd gone wrong in the quilt. So now I'm going to adjust it to
Okay.
enter it into the Festival of Quilts because it'll be a totally different quilt at that point. But it's so important to be able to have that conversation, but it's also important to be open to the criticism.
Well, that sort of leads us nicely on to the next question. Like, what is been one of the most challenging projects that you've tackled over your course of your career? And was it a case of, are you a person that you look at something and you go, oh, I can't do this anymore, and you put it to the bottom drawer and you leave it and you crack on with something else? Or do you think, right, no, we'll go away for a cup of tea, a glass of wine, gin and tonic, and we'll come back and we'll fight this head on? Because I'm the sort of person that buries my head in the sand. If I can't do it, I'll bury my head in the sand for a bit and I'll walk away and I'll think, right, this is not for me. And then I come back and go, actually, maybe I was wrong.
It's a big question, and because the answer is so obvious to me, and it was working at Sewing Street. I have never worked in a more awful environment in my life. It was beyond awful on every level. I've never been so mentally unwell. It was just horrible. I've never been so happy to walk away from something in my life. It was cruel. It was absolutely cruel. And I did what you do with doing then and put my head in the sand and thought, no, it'll get better, it'll get better, it'll get better. And I just woke up one day and said, I don't need to do this. I don't need to do this anymore. And I could have shut my mouth, and I made more money in that 6 months than I have in having my shop for the whole year. In the 7 years, I made more money then, and it was probably a mistake. But at the time, it was just there was no. And COVID was a horrible time because we had somebody contract COVID while we were there, and they didn't even clean the set. There was no care for the people that were working there at all. There was just no interest whatsoever, and I had to be very cautious because people I was around were very ill. So I was associating with them. So the bubble type of thing was quite hard. So for me, that was it, and it was really hard. And it's hard to say that because it was such an inspiration for so many people. It still is, and it's not the same company that it was then. So anything that happened then has changed allegedly. Can't talk to it because I've never been back and I never will. But it's just that for me was really hard. And you don't think that in such a lovely industry with so many really lovely people, there are some really awful situations that happen. And I think the kindness of so many people gets utilized in a way that's potentially not quite as healthy as it could be.
I'm with you there. I'm with you all the way on that one. Not about so I've never worked there either. Let me point out now I've never worked there.
But TV's hard.
TV
TV is a hard business.
TV is not what people think TV is. They think it's all glam and glitter, and we have prod squads that do everything for us. And it's if you don't know it, you don't know it. As in, no one's going to do it for you. But 9 times out of 10, people are going to work just to pay the bills because they're all in that. They're all in the same rut, as it were. Do you think? I should have asked you this question at the top, like I ask everyone. Do you think, with the demise of Create and Craft, now that has gone, do you think that has shocked the craft industry? Do you think it's found its feet yet? Or do you think we're still on this roller coaster that will plateau out eventually? But is it?
For me, I'm an accountant. So for me, I always look at the money. And when I started working for Hochanda back in 2017, they had three bankruptcies at the point of taking over, and money. It never makes money. The platform doesn't make money. And the people that are working there, I remember the last time I went onto Create and Craft, those solid fabrics over there, because I'm so small, I'm not VAT registered. So what I got paid meant that I personally was paying somebody 20p a meter to take that out of my shop because of the way the VAT worked. So there is no money for the people going on there. And when you go onto Sewing Street or wherever, you get paid a set amount of money. That set amount of money is for your patterns that have to be printed in a certain way. So once you take that out, then you've got to make a sample. Then you've got to make your prep work for it. So for me, I don't think there is money as a person going onto it as a demonstrator, because you're paid much less than minimum wage. Once you take in your travel and all of that, you're paid much less than minimum wage. I think Create and Craft did a lot of people a lot of dirty. They really, you can tell by the figures, because again, being an accountant, they're all on Companies House. People lost hundreds of thousands of pounds, and some people only lost £200-300. Some people lost hundreds of thousands. We're talking homes. We're talking destroyed businesses, and the market is tough. It doesn't matter who you are. The market is tough. Everybody bought so much fabric during COVID. They don't need fabric now. They've got every pattern that they ever want. I think everybody's reached that sort of crafting fatigue in some way, where they're just a bit like, nothing's grabbing me. And as a shop owner, there's no amazing new fabric coming out that gets you excited. It just feels at the moment that the world's just bleh, and it's just nothing new and exciting coming along. But it's cyclical. If you can last it for the next 2-3 years, you'll be here forever. Because if you can push through that. And we've also got a lot of shop owners who are coming up to natural retirement age anyway. So most of these people are now packing up and saying, that's it, I'm going to take my retirement. But we do have new shop owners coming. We do have younger people coming in and buying shops, and we've got people starting again.
Which is good, because there are a lot of people. You see it on Facebook daily. A lot of people packing up shop and saying, "Right, we're done now. We're sort of leaving." And the demise of Create and Craft and all that, it put a lot of people on rocky waters to whether their company would stand and go.
Even like yourself, people who are working there, you've got such a niche background that trying to replace that, it's impossible, because there's only one channel left and they're full. They're not, Stuart's not going anywhere, John's not going anywhere, Vicky's not going anywhere, Rebecca's not going anywhere. They've been doing this so they're not going anywhere. It's just a case those jobs are so niche. But I think with every single thing that goes wrong and everything that breaks down and is destroyed, something new comes in, and every single one of us is waiting for that something new. What it is, who knows? But
do you think everything's moving online now? Do you think that's where the future for shopping telly is going to go?
But nobody likes it. Everybody you speak to, they want to touch the fabric, they want to feel it, they want to see it, they want to do it, but they're not prepared to pay the price of somebody who has to pay the rent. And it's that balancing act that, Dougherty's, for example, he's been going for generations. And when his dad passed away, he's going along, and there's always rumors they're closing down, this one's closing down. And I don't think that helps anything. But I think the enormous amount of people who love this industry, and the enormous amount of people who are determined to make a career out of this, and but they're making a career by doing as much as they can, but getting paid as little as they can literally afford to keep it going. And I think it's just going to come to that litmus test of what's too much, and it's enough. And all of us who work for ourselves, I've just done the Scottish Quilt Show, which is 1.5 years of my life in one project. And I took a week off, and it wasn't a week off. I had to do this, that, and the next thing, because you work for yourself. There's nobody else to do it. And today was the first day I woke up, when you wake up and you're so exhausted, you just can't. And I sat in a chair and looked out the window for 2 hours, and it was like, oh, I better get to work. But it was, you've got to have that recuperation. But when you work for yourself, you can't, because you're constantly having pressure of doing new.
I do want to talk about the South African quilt that you've been doing for 2 years. But before I do that, one more question on this sort of subject, and then we'll move on to the charity stuff and stuff like that. Do you still enjoy it? Do you still enjoy what you started 10 years ago when you picked up that book and started sewing, do you still enjoy the process, or has the process massively changed now where you're in that sticky position? The same as me. I'm not just asking that question. I'm in that position as well, as whether do I leave TV altogether and get a proper job, as it were. But I love that. So even though we said TV is not what it is, I still enjoy it. I still get that rush. I still get that buzz of people counting down my ear. I still get that. Do you enjoy still to this day what you do?
More than I did before. That's come with counseling. I was very unwell last year. I have a therapist, but I literally was going to close everything. I was done. I was so done. But the reason I was done is that I didn't actually ever take time for myself to remember why I do this. And I think it's important that when whatever you do in your life, you've got to have time to remember why you chose to do this, because we're choosing to do this. We can't,
Mm-hmm.
every one of us is choosing it. We're making the choice. I now want to work in television. I want to work in a shop. We're choosing this. And for me, it's a case of I've now taken time out of my week, and there's a set period of time where I will not do anything for the shop. I will not do, and if that means that I'm looking in a magazine to find ideas, whether I'm stitching, whatever it is, I have that set time to remind myself. And today, I can safely say I enjoy it more than I did before. 2 weeks ago, you could have this whole shop just never let me have to worry about it. But, but I think it's important to recognize that you're going to have those swings and roundabouts. It doesn't matter what you do as a career, whatever you do as a job. Some days you'll love it, some days you'll hate it. But we're very lucky because the majority of us do it because we love it. And I've been married long enough. You will fall out of love with your partner at times. It's totally normal because that's just where you are in life. And it's hard. This industry is not for sissies. It is hard. And there are a lot of amazing, amazing people that will perk you back up. And I think the community we work in helps tremendously
I
because
think that's the thing.
there are some
It's
special, special women out there.
well, it's the people, I think, that make what we do, why we enjoy what we do. I don't think it's for me, I don't think it's the work. I think it's the people you work with that make, and everyone says, oh, we're a big family, we're a big family. And when you're there, yes, you are a big family. And the minute you leave them doors, you never speak to any of them again. And I've noticed that you never speak. I think I speak to more guests now
Yeah.
that were freelance than I actually do that were the contracted to actually work there with me 12 hours a day. But yeah, I think it's the people. Let's move on though to jollier times, as it were, which is I can't believe this when you told me this yesterday. You've spent 2 years working on the South African quilts. Now, I watched the interview you did the other day, which was absolutely phenomenal. I'd urge people to go over to John's Facebook to have a watch of this. Start from the very beginning, because start from the very beginning for me, because it's an amazing story.
So 2022, I went to South Africa for a holiday. They were having their quilt festival. I'd arranged the holiday months before I'd even knew there was a quilt festival. And I thought, I've never known anything about South African quilting. I'm going to go. It was in Stellenbosch. If anybody's never been to South Africa, Stellenbosch is where you want to go. It is stunning. So I went to Stellenbosch, arrived, and literally I arrived a day early, and I went there and just said, does anybody need any help? So I ended up volunteering on the ticket desk. And anybody who knows me, I will reorganize everything and get it perfect. System, it's all done. And the ladies were besotted. They loved it. They were delighted, handed something over, it was all done. And then I welcomed everybody. Literally everybody came through the door, got a badge. So we were welcoming everybody there. So I met the community, and then I went and saw the quilts, and I was blown away because I couldn't believe these incredible quilts that came out of it. So cutting a long story short, I started working with the committee for the festival in 2024 that was going to be in KZN. And their festival was called Voices in Cloth. And I thought, wouldn't it be amazing if we had a legacy of that, to be able to get a whole load of miniature quilts, and those miniature quilts, each person who makes one would be their voice in cloth about their lives in South Africa. And because South Africans are very much into oral history, I wanted to do a YouTube interview with everybody in South Africa who'd done the quilts, because a lot of the times when you see a quilt, you don't know the person behind them. And when you see the person who's made it, you'd never marry them up to the quilt that was there.
True.
That was how the process started. So in total, we've had over 540 quilts donated.
Oh my
I've done over
word.
220 interviews with different people. Now, if you've ever tried to wrangle 220 women onto Zoom calls over the things, it was. I'm just going to have a sip of my water.
I find two people on this hard enough, to be honest.
I know, but but what was so extraordinary, and the thing that I miss most about dating is learning people's stories. And I don't want to date ever again. But for me, it was the hearing people's stories, especially about something that I'm so passionate about. Doing those interviews and going through that process, it reignited exactly why I wanted to do this. And the stories, women were so open and they were so honest and so raw. One woman lost her child and she did an interview about her child being killed. And you just,
Oh my
I,
word.
the kid was less than 10 years old. I don't even want to ask how old he was when he passed. But it was just so hard having this trusted to you. And then the festival happened, and a lot of people changed their minds and kept their quilts, which is absolutely fine. So we got 145 quilts back, and then we restarted. And when we were in Glasgow a couple of weeks ago, we had 369 quilts on display. And we got over 140 interviews, 150 interviews that will be going out. And it was just, and that was the three prongs. So that's the quilts and then the interviews. But then the third prong was finding charities that needed help. Now, anybody who's been to South Africa knows charities that need help. Unfortunately, there are an enormous amount of them. But what I wanted to do was to find charities that were based in stitching and based in being able to train people to do a job, to be able to then train other people to do the same job. And we ended up aligning with an amazing school in KZN. And one of the ladies whose quilt is actually, you can just see it there. Her quilt is in that little box just there. She runs a school where she's got just that little one just over there.
There you go.
Because I know where everything is in this. She runs a school teaching people with learning difficulties and physical difficulties. She teaches them a vocation because these children can't learn in a normal school, and they have to have a vocation by the time they're 21 because they have to leave the school at this point. And this young boy, Bonkonkiso, any money he had, he would go and learn how he would rent the sewing machine of a woman down the road who had electricity in her home because he doesn't have electricity in his. And he was able to rent her sewing machine to go and learn to sew because he loves sewing. And hearing the story of that, and then hearing the young girls, we ended up having sewing machines donated to these kids, and we've ended up with 6 or 7 sewing machines now being donated to these kids, which are now kept at the school, and the kids can come and use the sewing
that's
machines
nice.
whenever they want. Because unfortunately, a lot of these kids don't have running water, they don't have electricity, they don't have homes. We're talking about the poorest of the poor living in situations that we couldn't fathom. And it's that the lack of support for people in that situation in Africa is really, it's real, and we're talking poverty on a level that we can't understand. So that was the school that we found, and then Thungel Mpilo, who does a lot of embroidery, and I can just show you the type of embroidery I'm talking about.
Oh my
This is
word.
just a luggage tag that they sell. So that luggage tag, now I don't know anybody who does embroidery like that, but that is all done by hand. And that's £15 that they're charging for that. And I'm like, it'll take me 3 months. I can't do that.
Oh my
And that's what
word.
they're selling. And be able to do that, these women, and we're talking about young kids who are 17, 18 years old, looking after 5 or 6 brothers, sisters, neighbors, cousins who are orphans. And they don't have anywhere to go because their parents have died from HIV. And they're now trying to make a living to be able to do this. So being able to support that charity as well is incredible. And then the highlight of the whole of the Scottish Quilt Festival for me was the other group that we worked with. I got them all to make me blocks with African pots on them. And I turned that into a group quilt, and the quilt won bronze in the Quilt Festival.
Nice.
Now, for an underprivileged group of African people to have stitched something that was good enough to come third in an international quilt festival, who've never, I don't think they've even seen 11,500 people before in their village, because their village is about this big, but they had 11,500 people come through the festival to see the quilts in that display. It was just a very humbling experience to be able to hold all of their work and show it to the world, because it's just so incredible.
And is that something, going back to a previous question, is that something that also inspires you on to do what you do. Yeah, you last week you may have want to shut shop, but if you actually sit back and think about what you've done there, that all those quilts that those people have made, that beautiful hand embroidered luggage tag for £15, ridiculous, something like that. Is that what inspires you to go, you know what, my life isn't that bad, I can keep doing this?
I have got the most the minute I land in Johannesburg and I look out the window, I have got the privileged life that I never dreamed possible. When I was growing up, I never dreamed for a second I would have the home that I do, the life that I do. I never dreamed that was possible. I was never taught that that was something that I could have. So for me, the inspiration I have on days when I am having bad days, I do look at it and I think to myself, there's a kid in Africa who literally is taking every penny he has to go and rent his neighbor's sewing machine to learn to stitch. And I'm whining about not having the right color thread on my machine.
That's
You know,
true.
it
I'm a
puts
bit
it
like
into
that.
perspective, you know,
Yeah.
and it's very humbling. And I think it's hard to minimize the problems you're going through just because somebody else is going through worse problems. I think that's not ever going to be helpful because your problems are still real and valid. But I think it doesn't do you any harm to just actually remember every now and then what you're struggling with, people are dreaming of. And doesn't matter where
Uh,
you are in life. If you're a millionaire, you're always dreaming of having the next bigger thing. And they, oh my goodness, Adam, do you know the Deborah Moore is here? Do you see that?
I can see
The
her now.
Deborah Moore,
Is it the one, the good one?
the Deborah Moore.
Well, I
She's
never
one of
see her.
my bestest friends. I love her to pieces. And she's not the Deborah Moore who does the fabric, and she's not the Deborah Moore that does the books. That's her sister-in-law. But every time I take her anywhere on shows or anything, I'm like, oh, it's the Deborah Moore. Say hello. She gets very cross with me.
This is what we love. We'll see. We get all the big names here. By the way, if anyone's got any questions on the Instagram, the YouTube, the Facebook, we're across them all this evening. Drop your questions in the text box below, and we'll ask. We've got about another 10 minutes. With our John before we let him go. But so let's go back to if people want to help out. Now, I know money's tight, friends are few for everyone at the moment. Everything is going up. And I think that's another reason why at the moment the craft market is steady. Because everyone's turning, it is like lockdown again. Everyone is turning to their stash and going, right, what have I got? Because money is tight. If people have got a bit of spare change and they want to do something to help these people out, where can they go for help or to help?
So the best place is voicesincloth.com. That's the website. We've got a GoFundMe page if anybody would like to do that. If anybody wants a luggage tag or anything like that, just drop me a line on iquilt.studio, and I'm more than happy to help you out. We've got about 50 of the luggage tags left. There's a contact me page on there, and I'll get back to you. Leave your number, and I'll contact you. Honestly, any type of help, it would just. And I think as well, if you can't help financially, that's absolutely fine. Just watch the YouTube videos. Watch those because I think it's being able to share on social media and to watch something. I think there's always something there that will inspire you. And the interviews with the women who've made those quilts is really, really inspiring. Each and every one of them in a different way.
It's worth doing. Once again, the details are at the bottom of the screen. iQuilts.studio is what you're doing for the website. So it's not .co, it's not .co.uk, it's .studio. Will get you to there. Go and have a little look around. I was having a little look around today. There is loads on there for you to go and have a perusal at. But if you can help, that's why we do these for. We do these to give the smaller companies the voice, to give them the name that they are. So they are all out there and they are looking for your help and support that you've got. A couple more questions before we go. Let's talk, because you are one of the only people I know, to be perfectly honest, apart from when I go to the NEC, with a long arm sewing machine. If people want to get their quilts long armed, is that something that they can do with you, even if they don't live close by?
Absolutely. Hi, Sarah. Is it Sarah or Sarah? I never know with SARA. It's Sarah or Sarah.
It's our Sarah from White Gecko.
Darling. Long arm quilting, absolutely. I just say to people, if you do it 24-hour tracked and traced or a tracked and signed for or special delivery, it's the best way of doing it. I do a video call with you with the thread. We take as long as you need. I've got 150 different threads on the top. We've got about 12 different bobbins for the back. And we've got about 1,800 different designs. You'll get a video, 2 or 3 videos of it being quilted. You'll get a call all the way through because I always stitch the first sort of 12 inches square, just to check you're happy with the scale and everything, because it's a lot easier to unpick that than a whole quilt. But yes, absolutely. It's really because I think my I love the fact that people can be involved. So tomorrow I've got a lady coming in. She's made a Grinch Christmas quilt, which I love. And she's coming in to watch being quilted. So what I do then is I set the quilt up, we get it on the frame, we stitch to a certain part, and then when she comes in at 3 o'clock, she'll watch the last two. No H. Perfect. Thank you, darling. But that way then she can come in and actually see it being quilted. Because that's one part in the journey I think people they miss not being able to see how it's being quilted.
And it is one of those things. It is fascinating to watch.
It is.
It really is one of. So if you want to get involved, once again, I've lost my button. This is the website to go to. It is John on the other end. As I said, this is what we adore. It is just you. There's not a mass of factories and loads of people that are answering emails.
I have two ladies that come in once every 2 weeks. They come in for a day each, but they're both on holiday at the moment, so it is just me. The disadvantage is if I'm not there to take the call, I will get back to you, I promise. Oh, Sarah, that's so kind. Thank you, love. Because I quilted some for Anne, who works with Sarah. It's her
John's long arming is beautiful, very professional. You see, if you've just joined at the wrong time now, you could take this whole conversation out of context. I'm not going to lie. That you've got on here. It's not one of those shows, to be honest. And so, just before we go, where do you think the trend for the quilting world is going in 2025? What do we need to look out for?
I'm really hoping it's going to go to reuse, repurpose, recycle. I think that we need to go through our stashes and we've got to be brutal with it, because some of the stuff you bought and you thought, what the hell was I thinking? Go through and clear out and make stock of what you've got, because once you've done that, you can then see what you actually need. And I think a lot of people are doing that at the moment, which I love, because I think using up your stash, but you've never got the right color to go with it. So where you may need 6 fabrics, you're buying 1. But go through your stashes and make sure you use them and find beautiful quilts that bring you joy. And if you can't find it, make it.
Can you make a quilt? I was going to say, can you make a quilt out of anything?
Yep. When patchwork started, it was all old clothes. So it was all old wool, all old shirts and jackets and stuff like that. Oh, thank you, Sarah. That's so kind. No, I was very proud of that, I have to say. I've never actually blown my own trumpet about any work that I've done, but that exhibition was extraordinary. And the iQuilt team, I cannot thank you all enough for the hard work, and all the women of and men of South Africa who made the quilts. They were just very inspiring.
Are you at any more shows this year? We want to come and see you in the flesh. The John off the TV.
Be a festival, but I have made a rule: I will never work festival, because you need to have time where you actually go and enjoy yourself.
Is festival the one down in London?
In Birmingham, NEC.
I got chucked out of that one. I'm not allowed there. Oh yeah, the white glove. Oh, it's a long old story.
No, you don't touch anything. But it's fine. I'll just give you a pair of white gloves. If you touch them with white gloves, you're fine.
The White Glove Brigade with the sash like they were on a hen do got hold of me, and I took Molly for she was only, how long ago was this? She's 8 now, 7, 6, 5. She must have been about 5. And we went and we had a little look around, and I loved it. A 5-year-old, she went, "Dad, why have you brought me to a massive Dunelm?" Were her exact words. I was like, "No, there's stuff here that we can do. Don't worry." And we had a look around the stores.
She's never encouraged her to speak.
Yeah, I was like, "Shh, just be quiet, Daddy. Daddy's here." And then we went to look at the quilts, and she didn't touch. She just went up close. She was intrigued about it. It was all about sports, and there was like little people with Jim. Well, the Hindu White Glove Brigade got hold of me, and they watched me for the rest of the show till I felt uncomfortable, so I walked out. And I've not been back since.
Well, we will give Molly her own little white glove so she can come anytime she likes, and we'll tell her that it's John Lewis, not Dunelm.
Well, that's the thing. She was like, "Dad, why have you brought me to a massive Dunelm?" Because there was just bedding everywhere, like quilts hung up, like Dunelm. Have we touched all bases? Have we covered everything?
I just want to take a moment and thank you, because I love the fact that you created this platform. I'm a little bit late to the party, but that day Lisa Chandler got me onto it. It's just wonderful to see what you're doing, and thank you. It's very special.
No, anytime.
Love it.
Well, this is what I do it for. We do it for the sheer fact it gives people a voice. Now we've not got a TV channel, and and I understand there are so many Facebook lives out there. Oh, that's what we need to cover, your Facebook lives. I've got it on my notes. There are so many Facebook lives out there, and you never know the right time to do them because there's always other people on. And I'm not selling anything. I'm not making money out of it, so I don't want to step on other people's toes like others are. So I try and keep it to once a week this week. But I enjoy doing it because these are the stuff we can talk about that we were never allowed to talk about on TV. We're never allowed to talk about mental health. We're not allowed to talk about how it really is behind the scenes in TV.
And men don't talk about mental health. And
We
I
don't.
think that's something that the last year has taught me, that being so poorly and not knowing what was wrong and having such bad mental health, then I realized how difficult it is for men to talk about mental health, and we have to change that. The guy who used to be literally through this wall over here, he went onto our local social media platform and posted something. And knowing him as I do, I phoned him and I said, right, meet me for a coffee now. And I'm so glad I did, because I had no idea how bad things were for him. And I think it's when you figure that something's not quite right, make sure you reach out.
It is one of those things. It's good to talk, and then once again, it also opens up all the platforms so people can type in. So I get a lot of messages of people saying we love watching these back, and most people watch them back tomorrow or later on this evening, and they just message on the YouTube going, "Thank you for this. I lost that hour where I didn't have to do anymore." And we've all been through stuff. I'll hold my hands up, and I've never spoken about it, and I don't think I ever will. But we've all been through stuff in our lives that has changed us or has took us to the brink. Just because we work on TV doesn't mean that we're all squeaky clean and we're all professional. And we've all got our own issues. We've all got our own problems underlying. And I've always said it when I go to shows. We're just humans. We're exactly the same as everybody else. The only difference is that our shop that we used to work on was on TV, and that is the only difference that we're not big celebrities. We don't get paid like celebrities. We make our own tea and coffee. Yeah, exactly. We make our own tea and coffee, and we drive ourselves to work and back. But no, I enjoy doing these. Thank you, John. Thank you so much.
Can I just say one last thing?
Of course you can.
I don't know how you're holding up at the minute, so I'm just going to tell you a little story of what happened with me. When I lost those 147 quilts in South Africa, and they took them all back, I was done. I was broken on a level I never thought it was possible to be broken. And a year and a half later, or 9 months later, it was the best thing that ever happened to me. And I know that when you're in it, you do not want someone telling you it was the best thing that was happening to you. You do not care. You're like, I'm not allowed to swear on Facebook, but you know what I'm going to say. But it's a case of, I know it's hard, and I'm sure that you're struggling as well. And it's going to work for the best, because whatever is happening is making way for something new. And however hard it is, and however bad it is, you're not on your own in it. You can be, you choose to be, but it will get better, and it is going to the place where you're meant to be. Sometimes it pushes us into a corner that we didn't want to go into, but avoided going into, because there's a way going forward that you can't see just yet. And it's clearing the path, and it's fucking hard, and it is incredibly hard. And I know this myself, because literally 3 months ago, somebody had said this to me. I would have told them exactly what to do with themselves. Just hang in there. It will come. What is meant to be will come. And I know it's hard for everybody, not just it is hard, beyond words hard. You can't even articulate it hard. But I promise you it will get better. I promise.
We'll get there. We'll get there. And this is the other thing why I do this as well. It also helps me. It gives me someone to chat to. It gives me an outlet to strive for each week. Where can we see your Facebook lives? Because they're all over the shop.
Facebook. So best way is Facebook. So it's facebook.com/iQuiltStudio.
And when do you do? Is there a set time for them, or they just
evening at 7:30 normally? But I didn't realize I clash with Sarah. So you're always going to clash with someone.
You're always going to clash with someone unless you do them like midnight, or then you're scuppered.
Exactly.
So you're always
Wednesday evening 7:30. I do them every single Wednesday evening 7:30.
There you go. Wednesday evening 7:30. And I know I don't want to talk about it too much, but watch out for the Christmas ones. They go back and watch them again.
good.
They
But now they're
are.
deleting all the lives.
I know they're ridiculous. It's ridiculous. That's why we
Trying
stream to
to be going around
YouTube.
and downloading them all.
You need to and put them on a YouTube. Have you got a YouTube channel?
Yes. So again, it's I Quilt with John.
There you go. Go and check out the YouTube as well. Go and subscribe there. Watch out for the Christmas lives. I think they may still be there because some of mine are. Go and watch them open them calendars. It doesn't sound fun, but trust me, you will be
The
hooked.
problem is, if it's really terrible, I can't hide it. I don't have one of those faces. I'll be like, what the hell?
I loved it. I love the ducks. I love the little Lego pieces that you didn't like and you sort of built and then just discarded.
Threw across the room, yeah. Do you know every one of those ducks is now in a giant see-through glass jar in my bathroom?
I love them.
Every time I walk in, I turn them around and have a different duck staring at me every day.
If you don't know what we're talking about, go and find out. Go and find out. It is absolutely amazing. Thank you very much, John. It means a lot. Whenever you want me, you know where I am. Just drop me a line and we'll do all this all over again.
Fine.
Trust me, you're in my phone book now. You can't go anywhere.
Good. I'm going to WhatsApp you.
I'm there. Speak to you soon.
Have fun. Go well, everyone.
Bye. Oh, what a lovely, lovely man. Genuinely a lovely man. Go and follow him. Let's bring up the no, that's not my one. Let's bring up the website. iquilt.studio is what you're looking at. Go and have a look. If you can do one thing for me, go and have a look. Go and scroll on your phone and have a look at all of this. Right, let's quickly read some of your messages before we go. Where did we get up to? John's exhibition at Glasgow from Sarah. Yeah, we've done that one. I'm using scraps to make a quilt as we speak, as she eats dirty food at the back of the pictures. We like it. We're liking this. The quilting police so unhelpful when they could have encouraged. They could have encouraged. And to be honest, I think as I've told that story over the years, I have exaggerated slightly. I didn't actually get uplifted and thrown out. I just sort of felt awkward and with Molly and stuff. Sarah comes back and says, but you give a voice to the businesses and charities to share so much. That's important. And that's what we do these for. As I say, that is why we do all of these for. Oh, a little box. Then some hearts there. Just a no message. Just a, yes, I'm here, Adam. I like it. That's all. It always everyone clashes. So looking forward to your lives. They're so interesting. We try and keep them interesting. We really do. Paula, thank you, sir. Thank you, John. Very, very interesting. It is. Go and watch these backs. If you know someone, a little plea now, if you know someone that this could help, we're getting about 1.5 thousand views of these videos across all the platforms. If you know something that this would help, tell them to get in touch. Tell them to contact me. We will chat. Whether they get 2 or 92 views, it doesn't matter. It still gives them the platform for people to go and find. You know how to find me, Adam Humphries, live on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and on TikTok. Send me a message. I will sort it all out for you. It is not a problem. Right then, unfortunately, that time has come. Yes, indeed. As we listen to the boys in the band play the music, it can only mean one thing. It's time for me to go. So remember, and do remember, and one day we will talk about me, and I will tell you all the troubles and strife that I've been through over the years, because it's not been plain sailing, trust me. Just remember, though, doesn't matter who you are or where you are, someone in the world, they will always love you. Good night. God bless. I'll see you next Thursday at 8 o'clock.